Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. To begin our Arabic class today, we want to first remind you of what it is we've been doing. We've been presenting to you tools for pronunciation. That's all that we've had so far is tools for pronunciation. Today, inshallah, we will start with tools for comprehension. In other words, if you don't get this, your understanding will be very shallow, be based on what somebody else said the word means. To let you know what we're going to do today, first of all, the Arabic language consists of 3 types of words: verbs, nouns, and particles. And the verbs and nouns have a pretty consistent developmental format that they go by. And that's what we want to present you with today. Start with this today. It's going to take more than one time to do this. I do want to say this. I got a feeling that many of us get all of our Arabic instructions on first Sunday, and then when we come back, we get some more on the next first Sunday. But you're going to need to do more than that. I'm just being honest with you. You're going to need to do more than. You're going to need to give your attention to the study of the Quranic Arabic at least every day, at least 10, 15, 20 minutes each day. Regardless of how little you do, you need to do that so that your mind will be focused. See, you lose focus from one first Sunday to the next. You may even forget who the teacher is. So that's not to admonish you, that's just to remind you that it's going to require more than it required more than that when you learned English. You were exposed to English every day. And somebody called you by your name every day, and that's how you learned your name, by hearing it over and over again. So just give some attention to that. And I told you the last first Sunday, before we go to the board, I told you last first Sunday, one of the ways that you can do that is you can get a free download. It's free. And I know most of you have smartphones. My phone is smaller than me. And all you have to do is just go to the letter I, Quran. Google it, and it will bring you up a page, and then you can download the Quran there, the entire Quran, not all at one time. They won't give it to you all at one time, but I think they give it maybe about 6 surahs, I believe, each day, and they'll cut you off. They'll let you know you had your fill for the day, but you can, and then you have them all there, from Al-Fatiha to An-Nas, and then you just listen, and then you might find the surah that you want to memorize. You can repeat. They got a way where you can repeat it. You don't have to listen to the whole Quran at one time. You can listen to one surah, repeat it over again, or you can listen to so many ayahs. They have the ayahs divided up how many? I think like 2, 4, 6, something like that. And then you can repeat them, and you can listen to them over and over and over, just like you listen to English. All right, that's how we learn English. I don't think we have any. I don't see, and if I don't know, I don't think we have any immigrants in here. They learn English maybe by sitting down, looking at a book, and as well as listening. But you need to listen. There's no substitute for listening. So today, what we're going to do is present to you the 10 forms that are used in the development of verbs and nouns. The verbs are the basis, and then the nouns come from the verbs. All right. Then with each, then there are actually 15 forms, but according to the scholars of the language, those last 5 are archaic and seldom used. So we focus on the first 10, and we're going to present the first 10 to you today, and then next time we'll have some further explanation on what each one of those forms do. But each one of those forms is just a different flavor of the first one. Let me show you what we're talking about. I'm going to do the first one, inshallah. I'm going to write it in red. This is your base form. Now this is one word here, but all of your words follow this pattern. All right. So we use this one word, fa'ala. And this word means to perform or to do something. All right. it also means he performed, or he did, okay? He did. And then, from that, we work with we do something to these same three letters, all the way down till we get to number 10. I put them up here because I'm not going to write all the way across the board and to keep me from having to bend over so far for the day. But next time we're going to have to go all the way down the bottom of the board because we're going to have to write information all the way across here. Because from this form, there are going up, these are columns going down, and then going across is rows, all right? That's how we're going to refer to it. Columns going down, and so this is one column. I just changed it over here. So this is going to be one column, and then from each column we make a row across, and then there are two more verb forms from this, and then 3 nouns. So there are 3 verbs and 3 nouns from each one of the words, all right? Okay, so now what we're going to do with this fa'ala, watch this, we're going to put the same 3 letters, fa, I, ayn, and na. And instead of just putting the vowel up here, we're going to put a shadda on it. Now it has emphasis on that second syllable. Fa'ala, fa'ala. All right, actually on the first syllable, going into the second. Because this first, when you have two, have a shadda on a letter, then the first one is sukoon, and so we have to stop the fa on this first one to be fa instead of just fa. This is fa'ala and this is fa'ala. All right, so go on there. It not only is it emphasis, we'll deal with this more in detail each week, but not only is it emphasis on the pronunciation, but it's emphasis on the act also. And we'll get into that in more detail, but I'll explain it to you briefly because it won't hurt to hear it more than once. The act here, not only is it the same act as it, but the difference is that it is intensified. There's more energy in it. See, this is how the comprehension comes in. So you see a word that has the shadda on the middle root letter, that means that whatever the act was in the first one, is more energy here. And that energy can be 1 or 2 forms, or it can be a combination. It's either intensive, meaning somebody you're working hard right now, or extensive, over a long period of time, or by a lot of different people. You see, so extension serves 2 ways. It can be one person doing it over a long period of time, or it can refer to a lot of people working on it all at one time. That's extensive, extended over bodies or extended over time. Okay, but there's more energy. So the energy is in 2 forms: intensive and extensive. It can be one or the other, or it can be a combination. All right, and that's what that one little mark that we add in the little shadda makes that much difference in what was up here and what's here. All right. Then the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to insert another letter. By the way, words are extended by prefixing, infixing, and suffixing. What do we mean by that? Prefixing means we're going to add something before the first letter. See, this is your first letter. We add something before it. That would be a prefix. And we're going to do that before we get through this list. But right now, we added something between the first and the second letter. So that's an infix. And this infix indicates that this act here is an act of reciprocity. Meaning that it's an exchange between 2 or more parties, all right? I taught my grandchildren, they're grown now and got children. One of them has a daughter of her own, about 11 years old. But when they were little, I taught them. I used to come home from work in the evening. These are my oldest 2 grandchildren. And they would be there at the house, and I would kiss them. And then I say, reciprocate. And so they learned the word reciprocate while they were just little. And they know, if I kiss you, you kiss me back, reciprocate. And so this is kind of humorous. So one day I came home, and after I made my prayer, I just stretched out on the floor. And they saw this is a good chance that they said, we're going to walk on. So this is a bridge. And they got on me and walked. They got over and walked and walked and walked. And then finally I said, reciprocate. Oh, they looked at us. So they got down on the floor, and the youngest one happened to be the closest to me. And so she's thinking, and so I raised my foot. She said, on the butt. That's the only place I can take this, on the butt. So, but anyway, reciprocation means that the act it goes to one person and comes back. All right, that's reciprocation. All right, and then perform. So you see how this one word change here to a lot of energy, and then here the energy is exchanged, going backwards and forth. Then we have a prefix this time. And I'm not going to use the little hamza, but I'll show you how it can be. You may see it like this. You may see this mark looking like this. Either way, this way or that way, both are all right, okay? And then we're going to say af-ala. We're going to sukoon the first letter, af-ala. Now this form and the other 5 letters that would come from it, which we will do later on, just the same. We had 5 more. Like, see, we have this one, then we have 5 more come from it, and we have 5 more come from this. So it would be 6 going across 6 columns. All right. All of the words that come from it have to do with command. Command, meaning someone is ordering it to be done. All right. So that's the significance of the prefix here. It's command. All right. Then number 5, we're going to now use a prefix again, and we go, it's going to be ta this time. And it'll be ta, fa-ala. Look at that. You see that? That's number 2 with a prefix to it. See this? And then we have the prefix. All right. Now, this means that this is the same energy that we have up here, but it is reflexive. When you look in a mirror, what you get? A reflection of yourself. It's going to come back to you. Here, we know who is performing the act, because we're going to have another reflexive, and the difference is going to be is that it means that we know that the act is coming back, but we don't know who did it. All right. So that's important. One word, just the way you mark it up, gives you all this kind of information. So this is intensive and reflexive. All right. Now we go to number 6, and it's going to be a repeat of this one with the ta. And this is the prefix that we put in on it now. Tafa'ala. Tafa'ala. All right. So again, this is reciprocal and what? Reflexive. You see? Now with the ta, it didn't try to hide and be something else. It's reciprocal and it's reflexive. All right. You remember Imam talked about this Friday. Talked about tet-tekun. He didn't use the word reflexive, but it means that you're bringing the consciousness of God into yourself. Taqwa. And you're bringing it into yourself. You're going out and getting it, bringing it to yourself, and it benefits you. You see? But when it comes back to you, you benefit from it. So that's the same ta here that we have in tet-tekun. Because we already had one ta, and then we had to put another one in there, and then in order to make the connection, we had to put the shadda on the first ta in taqwa. All right? Okay. Now we have, let's see, 5, 6. So now we're going to use we're going to use the same prefix we've been using, but with the kesra, and then we're going to use another prefix. See, you can put more than one prefix on a word, okay? So the prefix is going to be the same, but it's going to be, instead of going to be fatha, it's going to be kesra, and then we're going to insert the letter nun. Now, next time we're going to give you all of the letters that can be used to extend words. That's a limited number of how many letters can be used. We're not going to get into that today, but each one of those letters will tell us something, all right? So, in fa'ala, let me make sure that I give you the correct information, because I have Brother Salim Muhmin's notes here. Okay, so, in fa'ala, yes. I just want to make sure I had it right. It indicates that the act is passive. Passive. What do we mean by passive? Well, we have 2 ways of classifying verbs in this particular arena, and that is, if it's active, if it's transitive, then that means it goes from one person to another. If it's passive, then that means it's been received. All right, he did it. It's just so that's what we mean by passive. Meaning it's coming to you, coming to the person. All right. Okay. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do more detailed study on each one of these forms, especially as we add the columns across. Okay. All right. Then we have that's the only time that the noon is used by this infix here. That's the only time it's used in this particular project. We see the ta has been used twice already. Okay. Yeah, just twice. Now we have one more time where it's going to be used, and that's going to be in let's see. We have prefixes all the way down here, by the way. So this is going to be af'ala. And I'm going to check to make sure I got this right. I reviewed this stuff this morning, but now my brain want to play tricks on me. All right. Okay, let's see. What I got after, it should be if. Yeah, I got after, it should be if. If ta'ala, that's the other ta. If ta'ala. If ta'ala, my bad. That's what gives it right. My bad. If ta'ala. So it's going to be kasra, and then the sukoon on the first letter, if ta'ala. If ta'ala. Again, the ta means that it's reflexive and it's a command form, all right? If ta'ala, all right? The ta, again, meaning that, but this time, remember I told you over here, we knew who did it. Glad I thank you a lot for blessed to remember that. Over here, remember we told you we knew who did it. Over here, when the ta is put in there, like we don't know who did it. All right, it's reflexive, but we don't know who did it. In other words, it's not expressed. And here it is expressed. We know who the person is that did it, and here we don't. All right, and then we have again kesra. If now this is the only form where the shadda is going to go now to the last letter. If and that means something special. So that's unusual. Put the shadda on the last letter, and the reason why I pointed out to you because when you see that on the last root letter, that means that whatever this word meant up here, it's been discolored down here. It's a defect. It's not the pure energy that was here. It is something maybe just the opposite. Just the opposite. Yes, sir.
What is that word?
This pronunciation?
This word in the red. What is that?
Oh, that's fa'ala. Fa'ala. It means to perform or to do something. All right. Okay. And then from this word, I'll show you this as long as we're on it. From this word, we get the word fi'lun. And I'll write over here and read it. Because that's what we're studying right now. Is fi'lun. And fi'lun refers to verb. That's a verb. That's the word. That's the Arabic word for verb. Fi'lun. Fi'lun. Okay. And as long as you ask it, then this means to do something, and this is the category of all words that do something. They're called fi'lun. So this is like the base word of the language. And even though we can show both of these forms with any word, but this is the standard word that is used because from it you get the word fi'lun, and that's what we're doing. We're studying verbs now, okay? And everybody know what verbs are, right? In English, we say verbs are words that express action. Now, of course, we also have words that express a state of being. They are verbs also, okay? And we have that in Arabic also. When Allah says be, kun, fayakun, those two words, kun and fayakun, both meaning to exist, or just to exist. There's no action taking place in it except as existing, all right? But basically, your Arabic words are words of action, all right? And the form that, the first form that we have up there, as I said earlier, but maybe you'll remember it better now, I said not only it means to do something, but it's also third person, singular, masculine. For instance, I can just say kataba. And that's a full statement, just one word, kataba. It not only does it mean to write, it means he wrote. All right? So that's the basis of the Arabic language. The word that is used, infinitive simply means that you get many other words from it. That's what infinitive means, that many other words can come from it. All right? Infinitely, many more words can come from it. All right? So I don't want to lose you with grammatical jargon. Okay? Infinitive simply means is referring to the fact that many other words can come from it. Okay? And in English, infinitive they are phrases. They are phrases, and they have a to in front of it. So that's why we express the to do. All right. So this is to perform. All right. Now we have the last one, and that's what we're going to end with today, because we have a very dynamic program today, and I don't want to be selfish and use up extra time, because if I try to go into something else, then it's going to take more time. And the last form is longer than all of the others. It's ista'ala. Ista'ala. Excuse me, not ta'ala. Ista'ala. So it has two sukoons in it. Is-taf-ala. All right. And it has three prefixes. All right. Now we'll deal with those three prefixes more next time. But each one of those three letters represents a different meaning, an additional meaning. Not just one. See, the one prefix will give you one meaning. And you notice like this one. This one, not only did it mean command, but it's reflexive. Okay. So here the word is Taf-ala, all right? Taf-ala. Now, briefly, we could say that this is a word that means, this form means to seek. And that is Taf-ala, all right? And that would basically cover it. But well, I want you to know what part is what. All right. The scene here, the second letter that we haven't seen before. This is the prefix. This is the prefix, and this is the prefix. All right. Why was it prefix? Because all of it come before the first letter of the root word. That's how you classify what is a prefix and what is not a prefix. If it's something that's added to the word and it's not before the first letter, but it comes between the second or third letter, then those are infixes. And if it comes after the last letter of the root word, then it's called a suffix. Means it's added to the end. Meaning it's fixed at the end. That's all it means, fixed at the end. Okay? All right. So it's very important to understand this. All right. The it makes it like an interrogative. It's a quest. Okay? And then the scene, I want to show you this, because most people, it's in the real profound grammar books like the one that I have, but I've seen grammar books where they didn't even deal with it. So that's why I want to this scene here. Let me write it in red so you can see this one letter here, very powerful in its connotation. That letter, scene. That's what it looks like when it's by itself. It is equivalent, or is derived, it's an extract from, maybe I should say, an extract from the word sawfa. Or sawfa. Sawfa. And sawfa means to put off. So if it's put off, then that means it has not been done yet, right? So whenever you see this added to the word, that means that it's an act that is not done yet. It's either in the process or it's to be done. All right? In the process or to be done. And in closing, I've talked about this before, but I just want to mention it to you. And if you remember it, fine. And if you don't, then when I say you remember, I mean if you remember it from before, then that's good for the day. But if you don't, then next time we will deal with it in more detail. You remember we dealt with the word mustaqim. Mustaqim, and that's three prefixes there. Mim, sin, and ta. Because the root word is kaw wama. Mustaqim. All right. So the mu is the person. The s means that it's in the process or it's to happen, and the ta means it's being done for itself. So it's a play on that same word as tatakun. Same word. It's come from the same word kaw wama. I'm sorry, not from the same word, not come from the same word, but it's the same process. Because kawama is the root word for mustaqim, And taqwa or waqa is the root word for taqwa. But it's the same process. So while they translate that word to mean straight path, it means more than just straight. It means straight. But it means the person, is the person, and the scene means it's a process, and the tab means they're seeking straightness for themselves. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
You have 5 more minutes. You have 5 more minutes.
You can have my 5 minutes.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.